So this is a tutorial on how to create a PowerPoint, and a lot of people struggle with this, and it's really, there's no reason to struggle. It's very easy. You just need to know the rules, and you need to know how to put this thing together. Basically, you are going to write a paper, keep it brief, get your points, and then you're basically do it on Perla so that you can still do your references. You do your reference page, it creates it for you, and then you're gonna copy and paste right onto this thing, and then just get a little creative with your slides. And there's several rules I'm going to go over with you that will help you create this thing easily and effectively, and you should get a good grade. So this is one I've already done, but let's start fresh. So here I'm going to go new and create. So here you go, starting fresh. So basically I have created now a paper, and each paragraph or point that I want to make is what I'm going to write as if I'm speaking to an audience. This is in Perla, and so while you're writing it, keep that in mind, as if you're talking to an audience, and that's going to be transferred over to this format. Once you've got all that down, then you're going to just come back over here and you're going to create these slides, and it's going to go very quickly. So you start off by creating your first page. This is the blank, and this is your canvas. So go over here to design, and you have several options here, and you can get real fancy and get all kinds of cool backgrounds if you want to. I don't waste my time. I do something simple as a background. Some people may be real good at that, and that's fine. I just never got into that because I'm focusing on my content. So this is oftentimes the one I like. It's simple. It's not too busy of a background. It lets people focus on what I'm trying to show. This one is also one I like to use. So whatever you choose, click on it, and then all your slides are going to be created as you go, and with this as the background. So let's create a title page. So right here you'll see that there's a box, and then here's a box, and when I click on a box, then I can type in it. And so there you go. There's my title. And when I click over on this box, this all disappears as if there's no more box. And I want to do something with this, we'll have to click back in that area. Box reappears. Well, let's see here. All right. Sorry, guys. Okay. So here you'll see as I'm dragging my cursor right over this line, or this line, see it turns into a cross. This means I can move the entire box around as long as this is showing. So come up here, and I'm going to left click while this is showing. That means I'm basically grabbing onto that, and then I move it around wherever I want. It's really low though, right? I don't like that. So I'm gonna see this little box right here, the white box. That means I can actually slide that line in and out. Left click, hold, move up. See, that actually shortened the box. It actually pushed or pulled this line in one direction or another. Okay. If I want to grow it in an angle, then I can do that too in these angled ones. So however I want to manipulate it, this is the way I do it. And this little guy here means that I can actually grab onto it and twist it, but I've never used that. The other thing is that here I can take and slide across as I'm holding my left button down, and now it's highlighted. Now let's talk about how I change my fonts, size, and color. And I go home, And again, I'm going to slide. Come on, you little booger. Highlight. See, it's all highlighted here. Sometimes a little ghost comes up here and I can do it from here, but from home you have this. So I can choose to go with a different font. The font here, size here, colors underneath. So as I'm hovering, I can see what these different fonts are going to look like, and as I hover, it turns it temporarily into that font so that you can see what it is, and you can quickly make a decision on what you like. And so let's say I like Arial Black, and I click on it. Well, darn, it's not fitting in the box. Well, that's because Arial Black is a bigger font and it's not going to fit in this box, so I made 2 lines. So you see it's still highlighted? Well, remember, this is my font, this is my size. So I'm going to click this down and I'm going to drag over here, and remember, I'm hovering. And let's see if I can make this work here. Let's make it smaller. Oops, it wasn't highlighted. Sorry. So, see, it all then became 1 line. So I can change this and, see, it'll work on 40 all in 1 line. And so I'm going to back it up. Oh, see, it also acts like a paper because, see, it's all pressed to the right. But you notice here, this is highlighted. If I go in the middle, which is what I generally like, or to the left, then it'll actually move it over, okay, to the middle of the box, as if it was in the middle of a paper. Here, left box, okay. So this is title page, so I'm going to put it in the middle, and then I'm going to take the bottom line, I'm going to push it up because I want it a little higher. So boom, there you go. Very easy to manipulate. And then with a title page for one of these, I'm going to show you what I have already. Presented by BSN 436, American Sentinel, Terra Meeks. This is one of my presentations. This is the this is the university, as you know, the class, and the professor. So this down here is called speaker notes, and this is what you're going to be saying to the audience. If I'm standing up in front of an audience, I'm going to do a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to be talking about the slide, but I'm not going to be reading off the slide. If anybody's ever experienced that, you kind of know it's really annoying. And so what you want to do is keep your slides very brief so that they can listen to your words and catch what you're saying, but also see the highlights. So here's challenges. For instance, these slides have, when you're creating them, you should be using something called the rule of 7s. And so no more than 7 words and no more than 7 lines. And so, it's crazy to me that people are still, even after I'd been in school for a year and a half, they're still basically copying and pasting entire paragraphs on a page. Don't do that. That's not the point. You're here to present something so that the person is able to hear and focus on what you're saying, and the slide reflects that so that they can see just a few words that represent what you're saying. And so as I'm typing out my words, I'm doing it on Perla. Again, creating my references. It creates a reference page that I will copy and paste at the end off of Perla right onto my last slide, or 2 slides, because I often use a ton of references. But in this case I didn't. I only used 4. But you see, this is my reference page. I literally copied and pasted right off of Perla onto here. And so it was that easy. Now, let's see here. See, each slide has a very brief title, and then as I'm talking, this is my this is what I'm saying here. And so the people are able to focus on what it is I'm trying to say. For instance, look how few words are here. You can actually create bullets like here, insert them, but you may not want to in certain circumstances. But if you'll notice this slide, this is a good example. So I'm talking here about this issue because I'm created an app, a theoretical app for teaching purposes for Hispanics who may not speak good English and are having, basically this is just an assignment on how to create something to communicate information to people. And so this is what I chose. And so the challenge regarding use of technology in this population is that they often do not use devices like computers, smartphones. However, a survey showed that 64% of Hispanics own phones, which is on par with other demographics and is growing. This makes cell phone app a prime candidate as healthcare education resource tool. What did I draw out of that? This 64% of Hispanic cell phone use 2015. I pulled that out of a website, so I used a reference. And so if you'll see here, demographics, this is my in-text citation that I pulled right out of Perla. I didn't have to recreate it, because Perla only works in Word. So you basically copy and paste off of Perla. And so you notice the brevity in this slide when I'm talking about all this stuff here. But if you think about it, this is what you're going to be saying to the audience, and this is what they're going to be seeing. They're not trying to read off of a page like while you're reading to them. I mean, people are big boys and girls that know how to read, so you don't have to, put that on there. Look at this. Yeah, one or two words in each line in this case. And look at all that I wrote about each one. So I bullet pointed it, bilingual. Boom, it was just literally bilingual, and I read about that. So very brief. Here I created the page, as if it was an app, and explained why right here. And so this is what the front page is going to look like. This is the artwork I incorporated, and then I added this very quick and easy. And I'm going to share with you how I also add pictures. I didn't use very many in this case. Didn't really need it, but sometimes, so what I'll often do is make my points. Okay, so supporting nurse practice. So let's say these, let's just mess with this page real quick. This is something I could easily do, and I think there was one called Wine App. Yeah, okay, I had that one. All right, what's important? Okay, the app. Why are apps important? And I want to add art here. I could have added art, and that would be really easy to do. So here's what I'm going to share with you what I actually do. And I'm not using I always have my two screens open, but for purposes of sharing with you, it's easier for you to see this whole page. But over on the right, I've got this up, and so that I can be using it off to the side. And so watch this. This is kind of cool. So I want to, you want to find images, and how do you go about doing that? Use your little microphone. why apps are important. Okay, and then you go to images. You're going to find all kinds of cool stuff that you're like, oh, I wouldn't have thought to use that. Or this, you know, well, like this. I want to use that picture right there. Let's see if I can do it. Hold on. It's not gonna let me do it that way for some reason. But all right, so let's do this. I'm gonna show you how I save a picture. So I don't want, well, I can get this one here. Okay, so I like this, and it's showing people using cell phones. So it kind of makes my point. It makes it interesting. Right click. Don't just use the little thumbnail, because you may not get as much detail as you want, because sometimes thumbnails are the reduced data version or reduced pixel version, and when you blow them up they're very pixelated, and so you want the large version of it. So watch this. So I right click on the image that I like, save image as, and it's going to ask me where I want it. I'm going to do desktop, and so I'm going to hit save. Remember to put it on your desktop. See, look where it ended up. It just popped in right here. So I just, you know, found something cool. You know, like one, let's see here. Teamwork. All right, boom. So I want to do something on teamwork, and I just, hey, this looks pretty cool. You know, it would work well in a slide. Save image as, and I have it on desktop, and hit save. And then it's gonna pop in right there on the front. Isn't that cool? So simple. Now, some teachers require you to use to put in text citations or references for the actual image, and you can actually do that in Perla as well. But most of them, I've only had one teacher that required that. So let's bring this back up. So what I'm doing here, this button right here allows me to shrink it enough so that I can still see the outside. If I grow it, then it obliterates everything. But since I have two screens, I can do it this way. I can drag it over off of the screen a bit. However you want to do it, it makes it simple. But I can literally take this and drag it and drop it, and it drops right in. You can also hit insert and picture, and then it'll, you know, you go find it on the desktop, or let's say you have it in a, you know, some file somewhere. But you know, it's a lot easier to just drag and drop, and then you would just click that, and then it'll blow it in. You see what I'm saying? But I'm going to undo that. Drag and drop. Just drag and drop. Whoops, that's not what I intended. Anyway, you get the picture. So then I grow it, and I can work, you know, I can work it around my wording. Let's say I had, darn it, why are you doing that? So let's add a bunch of words here, and I wanted to tuck it in here, or, you know, just say I wanted to do 2 pictures, I could do that. Or, oh, I want to make it bigger. Remember what I talked about with these little buttons here. Make it bigger, fit this slide, fit it around, fiddle with it. And you see, as I over here, it's showing the changes that I'm making. It's kind of cool. See, it moves when I move it. So boom, there you go. I just added art that quickly. Very easy, and you know, like this one, it makes a point. I grabbed this piece of art from the internet. A lot of my slides have a lot more artwork, but these these were little clip arts that I dragged and dropped. Okay, and then finished it off. Then there again, this is artwork, but you see I made it small enough to fit, and I could have made it bigger if I want, but I wanted it to fit right there. All right. Let's see here. I want to share with you, if I can find it, view animations design. You can change the outline of the picture with these under format. Okay, and so that you can make, give it effects if you want to get a little fancy. See how I just made this? I'm going to go back over. Once I click on a picture, this format thing pops up. So then I can create or choose borders and designs. And obviously that's not going to fit that, but if I wanted to, click back on there. Just be creative. But I didn't like that. I'm just sharing with you how you can do it. That's kind of cool. So you just put these little pieces of art anywhere you want. And let's see. I think I got everything for you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. You just contact me, and I'll be glad to try to help you out.